Hi, Ronnie. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you for being here. Okay, Ronnie, you see, I want to thank you for two things, all right? Just two things. No more than two, just two.
Oh,
Okay, firstly, I want to thank you for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, I was on that particular road that day some months back, and I walked past this mango tree. It didn't really catch my attention because it's got no fruit on it. I just walked past it and, nah. Then just recently, Ronnie, I was on that same road. But this time around, I sighted the mango tree from a distance. And you see, I got the urge to move closer and take a good look. And when I moved closer, Ronnie, it wowed me. Because this time around, the mango tree looks so beautiful because it's got a lot of mangoes on it now. And I was excited. I said, yes, this is beautiful. The point is, the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing person you are today attracted me to you. You see, while I was going through your profile, reading a little bit about you to get to know who you are and all, I was impressed by the things I saw and by the things I read. So, honestly, thank you for investing in yourself. And secondly, thank you for being here on the show. I truly appreciate it. So let's get started, Rudy. I am quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking, because I believe in order to transition from a chaotic situation to that of a beautiful one, Ronnie, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge, in darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason why I'm excited to have Ronnie on the show is for the sake of the listeners. You see, Ronnie, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. How to do this and how to do that. So these folks trust me for quality information. And that's why when I was reading about you, to learn more about you, I was excited about the things I saw because I believe our conversation is going to be impactful and insightful. So for that reason, Aaron, let's get started. Yeah, me too. Let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. We're just so curious, we want to know how you got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Ronnie, over to you.
so I'm a longtime journalist. I've been a journalist for some 37 years now, writing for newspapers and magazines. And some of my articles have been in Forbes and Huffington Post. And I wrote for New York Daily News. I did freelance. I did working full time for newspapers. Now I'm a healthcare reporter for Medscape, WebMD, where I was a editor up until about a year ago. And I also freelance for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. So daily and also online international publication, two different publications at the same time. But about 20 years ago, when I was raising my children and also freelancing at that time for some of those publications, I started writing a book. I decided that I couldn't be a full-time journalist and also be a good mom. And so I decided to stay at home and try my hand at both freelancing and also writing a book. My mom had given me cassette tapes and I transcribed those cassette tapes. The Hands of Gold is the result of that, and took me a while to get a publisher, a professional publisher versus self-publishing. And it's loosely based on my grandfather's life, his near-death experiences in Europe and America, coming to America as an immigrant, his survival skills. He was told he was terminal with tuberculosis at 26 and lived till 86. He was a clinical trial patient for a treatment for TB that saved his lives and countless others and used today, and also as the basis for other medication. Tuberculosis is the largest infectious disease killer in the world, not COVID, although COVID ranks up there, maybe second, and maybe it was first for a little bit, but TB is back being for most biggest killer worldwide. So we're still dealing with that. Most of his family died in the Holocaust. He was involved in a workplace shooting involving those rehabilitating from tuberculosis, and that's probably about it. But it's a family saga. People can relate to it because it's an immigrant story. That's pretty much anyone's immigrant story. Where America is founded by immigrants. People came from different countries to here. And they come to different countries to where everyone else is in the world. So people move around. They don't always stay in the country that they're born in. So there's a lot. There's tragedy, there's romance, there's family, there's perseverance. That's probably a good summary.
Wow, amazing. So, are you saying you turned your family history to a novel? Is that what you did?
I did.
Oh,
Yep.
amazing. I love that. Okay, let's pick the first question from there, all right? So, for folks who like to do just the same thing, how can they get started?
Okay. Who want to be a author or who want to be a journalist?
Yeah, and also, yeah.
Just write. Put it down on paper. Put it down. Well, nobody uses paper anymore. Put it down on the computer. You can interview if it's the novel you're looking for. I mean, it was based on fact, but I twisted a lot of the facts around, and I also embellished and made up dialogue, and so changed names. But you can interview your family members, and it's really important to do so because pictures only tell part of the story and they fade over time. And if you don't have somebody explaining who those people are to you in the old black and white pictures, that, your family legacy, you might not know who those people are. And those that went before us have so much to teach us about who we are and what they went through in comparison to our very blessed lives today, and all the blessings and all of the modern technology that we enjoy today came from people who paved the way for that, for us, and the freedom that we enjoy from their struggles. So it's very important. I try to tell people to record your family histories in whatever way: genealogy, family trees, talking to your ancestors, talking to whoever is the matriarchs and patriarchs and finding out their story, because they all have stories. They all went through something that we just can't even fathom. And it can teach you so much. So you don't have to write a book. You can just write a story or just pass it on to your family. I chose to write a book because I'm a writer, but, a professional writer. So I chose to do this. You don't have to. You can just do however you want to record the family history. And I think it's important. But you just put it down. Get it recorded.
Put it down. I got that. And I think I'm going to work on these two. Okay, you mentioned genealogy and family tree. So, how can one use genealogy to build one's family tree? Can you talk to us about it?
So there's lots of sites online that you can go to that will help you along. Family history projects, templates that are out there. Just Google it. And there's genealogy research out there. There's genealogy sites you can go to. You can do an ancestry.com. You can look through censuses, which is what I did. It's all online. When I started, it wasn't all online. So I had to actually go to the archives, but there are family archives. The Church of Latter-day Saints or Mormons have family history centers, and there's national archives out there. They're located in your state, in your cities. You can go in person, or you can try to research online and find your family. And so that would be how I would suggest that you go forth and try to record.
Wow, I never knew those sites. Wow. Thank you for, sharing that with us. That's amazing. I'm going to check it out. Thank you for that. So I believe there must have been some, different reactions to your book from your family, especially from those whose lives were depicted in the novel. So can you
Yes.
share some of their reactions with us? How did they react to the book?
So most of my family members, 99% of them were happy to learn more about the family that they didn't actually know, or they feel like that I really did capture my grandparents' voice, my grandfather's voice as the subject of the novel. They were supportive. They understood that it was fiction because I played with the facts a little bit, and it might be unsettling to some that they learned a little bit about their family that they probably didn't want to learn. They would have liked to have seen everything as very positive and not having any controversy or questionable information. A little dirty laundry was exposed for drama. So most are my mom certainly proud of me and happy to support the project. Most were encouraging of the and are big supporters, and whatever I put out there they like, and they go on social media and they repost, and I've gotten family to come. They've reached out to me and I didn't even know they existed. So I've expanded my family from the book. So it brought people to me when they hear about the book and have connections to me that I didn't know about. There was one person who I was very concerned wouldn't like the book, but had expressed that I didn't ask permission, that I didn't portray my grandmother in an appropriate way, or, there's sex in the book and nobody wants to hear about sex by your parents, but that's part of life. And I felt like it should be in there, the romance, and I glossed over it as much as I can. It's not X-rated, but it does talk about that relationship, and it glosses over it, but it's there. And my grandmother was a sexy woman. I portrayed her as such. So I don't think anyone would argue about that, but it's hard to read it in print if you know that it's true. Well, if you know that it's based on truth, I should say. I definitely played with the facts a bit.
I got that. And I think it is very important to be transparent. Since it all happened then, it should be in the book. No one should have issues with that. Okay, let us talk about the rules now. Alright. Are the rules of journalism different from or different than those of book writing? Is there a difference between the rules in journalism and book writing?
Journalism and book writing. So I think that was what your question was. I used my skills in fact finding research from my journalism skills, skill set. I used every bit of my knowledge about journalism in this book writing project. The research skills that I've gained over the years, the just storytelling skills I've built over the years, but it is really based on fact. And then like I said, I played with it. That is where it differs, in that I went fiction so that I would have more freedom to make the stories that were told just a teeny bit more dramatic. They were dramatic to begin with. And I, as a journalist, and I also heard this from another journalist, because the lines between fact and fiction were blurred, I felt for credibility's sake and to protect the innocent that I needed to change all the names and I needed to make up dialogue, and I didn't know what people said to each other at that time. Now, you could say that this was biography. You could label it literary nonfiction. Yes, but I chose as a journalist that I couldn't live with myself if I didn't say it was fiction, because I did make up stuff. So that was where it differed. And so I'm not trying to say that this is exactly as it happened. And in that way, I get away from the journalism ethics of being factual, of being totally factual. I stick to my ethics of being totally factual in my journalism, but in that this is fiction, I can blur the lines a little bit. So that those are.
Easy. I didn't put that. So I'm so curious, right? How long did it take you to write the book? before you were convinced that now you can submit it to publishers and agents? How long did it take?
So it probably took 7 years to feel like the book was ready to be put out there. I had a lot of doubts because this was a new area for me, a cold feet a lot. I didn't know if it would be, I wanted it to be successful. I wanted people to enjoy it. So I really polished it a long time. And I really was afraid of putting it out there. I say 7 years because I know that I entered the Amazon Breakthrough Novel Award contest for several years before I won it in 2009. So let's say 7 or 8 years to write, to have the book in a form that it was ready to take a chance on a contest, and then a couple more years to really to improve it so that it won a quarter finalist. It won a level of a contest. And then I knew it was ready. Now, then it took me a long time to get a publisher because not everyone wanted an immigrant story at that time. People didn't think that that was something that would be a success for them, or whatever it was that held it back for so many years. I kept trying on and off. I'd give up a lot. I got some 50 rejections, and that's only what I know about. And I thought it was much more than that. I would have thought it was 200, but I counted, and there were about 50 rejections. So you can imagine what that does to you. And I just, I got lucky. So, but it took me 20 years, a total more than 20 years to get a publisher. So writing it is one thing. Making it, getting interest from a professional publisher was another thing, and I wasn't willing to settle for less. So I got my publisher.
I get it.
Yeah, I had gotten
Settle for less, leader.
and then I lost the first publisher. So then I tried again, and 6 months later, after working with the first publisher for 2 years, I got a second publisher. So it's been quite the struggle.
Wow, amazing. I love your spirit, not giving up and forgetting about the dream of making that happen. That's a good one. Okay, so what advice do you have in folks who like to venture into journalism or becoming an author? Any advice or tips or insight?
I'm going to steal a line from Nike here, and that's just do it. I feel like that I was held back from with my fears. Maybe people don't need to take so long to do what they're going to do. I'll give a reference. My son is an actor in LA, and I don't want it to take him 20 years to find, to achieve a goal. So work faster on it, and don't let fear hold you back. Do it. Well, I've got a website, and it's RoniRobbins.com, but you got to spell my name right. It's RoniRobbins.com. That's where you'll learn more than you would ever want to know about my book and me and my background. And also, the book is available on Amazon. And if I turn a little bit, some people might be able to see. It's a little backwards, but Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Goodreads, Target, Books A Million. It's anywhere that books are sold. And so you'll find me. Just Google me. I'm all on social media all over the place. Thank you. Same thing.